Good afternoon, Madam Chair. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, we are debating today that the future is female, equality, diversity, progress. And we've heard our opposition argue that the future should eradicate male dominance in society. However, we, the negative team, believe this statement is false. Today, as first speaker, I will be talking to you about feminism in the context of equality and inclusion. Our second speaker will be talking about how we raise boys and girls to instil equality of the genders and why role models matter. Our third speaker will rebut and sum up our winning team case. The first speaker of the affirmative team, well, Amelia, in the spirit of inclusion, we hear what you say, we embrace your thoughts, and we strongly disagree. This premise of dominance is wrong. As we've seen with every historical attempt to dominate one religion over another, one border over another, one gender over another, no, the future is about coming together. I will be discussing 3 points with you today in support of our position that the future should not be female, but rather equality of the genders. My first point is that we are living in unprecedented times with unprecedented support within our communities. Of course, every one of us has the right to fight for our own beliefs and values, but together we can achieve so much more. And those of you in East Sydney last Saturday night will agree with me on that. In the beginning, suffragettes stepped up and demanded that their voice and their vote be counted as equals, and that they be paid as equals. It wasn't easy, and perhaps the progress over the years has disappointed us, but there has been progress nonetheless, achieved through hard work, commitment, passion, and above all, unity. To quote the world-renowned feminist and activist Gloria Steinem, the story of women's struggle for equality belongs to no single feminist, nor to any one organisation, but to the collective efforts of all who care about human rights. Equality was, is, and always will be the end game. Now to my second point of the genders working together to achieve equality. This year, the Me Too movement has shown we need to do more. No shit, Sherlock. And that there's never been a more important time for men to be actively involved in setting the standards for what is considered appropriate behaviour. Just a decade ago in Australia, women occupied only 8% of board seats on listed companies, and even fewer CEO roles and chair positions. Pink ghettos in the private and public sector were employing the best and brightest women on strategies to attract, retain and develop women. This reinforced a notion that female representation was a woman's issue that could be left for women to fix. This is simply untrue. But what those women did achieve was a body of research that showed companies with more women in leadership produced financial results up to 35% stronger. The banker in me likes that. Those companies are also more engaged with their consumers, and they're more likely to attract the best and most diverse human capital, a priority for any business leader. Taking notice, the mostly male CEOs implemented changes to company reporting that revealed for the very first time the gender imbalance in senior leadership and board positions of listed companies in their annual reports. The results since then? In fewer than 8 years, a 315% increase in the number of women on boards, from 8% to 26% and still rising. Is this enough? No one's saying it is. But what it does say is there's power in men and women coming together to tackle the challenges of equality together. And that's what my role at Women in Banking and Finance is all about. Over the same period, the Male Champions of Change program recognised that men largely occupy the seats of power. So it is illogical to rely exclusively on women to lead change on gender equality. Inviting decent, powerful men to step up beside women and create a more gender equal world has given males, well, a job to do. Are we there yet? No one would argue we are. But this example of men stepping up beside women and working collectively to disrupt the status quo is the future of equality, and the results are promising. My final point is that men and women competing against each other to the end is surely a strategy that's doomed to fail. We've learned a lot in recent years about stereotypes and bias, and despite the progress women have made in our workplaces and communities, men are still very much seen as the default leaders. Research by Catalyst shows this think leader, think male mindset means women, we need to be considered twice as good to get just half the opportunities, and that needs to change. Just doing her job well, it's not good enough, is it? She has to be more charismatic, more capable in all areas of performance, have an impeccable track record, and have ticked all the boxes before she's even considered for opportunity. This double-bind dilemma creates expectations of women so far above and beyond their male counterparts they can't possibly live up to them. Well, except for perhaps one woman, who my 9-year-old son describes as the most awesome superhero of them all, Mum, and it's so cool you're talking about her today. And I love it that he says that. But seriously, we can't all be Wonder Woman, try as we might. We can, however, be ourselves and bring our best selves to work and expect the men we work with to do the same. This is equality in action. So, Madam Chair, ladies and gentlemen, it is the position of my learned colleagues that the future, our future, and the future of our children and grandchildren lies not in the dominance of any one gender over the other, but in the equality of genders. In conclusion, our position is that the future is equality, and equality is the future.